Hello everybody, today I'm going to talk about something that used to be a sensitive topic that I've now grown to accept and realize really doesn't matter, but at the same time I realize that people can potentially learn from my experience. So in hopes of that, I decided today I was going to talk about why I got rejected by so many colleges. I also wanted to pop in and say I forgot to mention that I'm using a new camera, so if it's not in focus, I'm going to learn how to do those things eventually, and if it's, cut off a little bit, I'm learning. So yeah, thank you guys for being patient. If you haven't watched my college decisions reaction or my how I got into college video, I will put them in the cards. You guys can see how many colleges rejected me. Yeah, it was a lot. I definitely applied for a lot of reach schools when I didn't have the credentials. You can see that for yourself today. I'm not going to talk about the schools I got into, but like I said, if you're interested, feel free to watch them. People seem to really like those videos, so go ahead and check them out. But I'm going to get started on why I got rejected from so many colleges. Okay, so first of all, I mentioned this in my how I got into college video. I literally state my grades, and I don't want to do that again, but I definitely got mediocre grades. Like, I feel like compared to everyone else, my grades are only like slightly better. Like, I remember getting multiple C's throughout high school, and that would be okay for the most part, except I got C's in like STEM classes. Like, I got a C in AP Bio, and I applied for some sort of bio major. So why would top tier schools accept me when I've proven, or at least shown to them, that I can't do well in STEM classes? Which is why I don't like necessarily fault schools for it. Like, if I had probably applied for like English or something, maybe I would have gotten it, but to be honest, I'm not that passionate about English, so it was just my fault. I had a bad teacher that year, but then I also got other bad grades, so point is, didn't do too well academically. There was a lot of adjusting, it wasn't great. So my second reason I believe I got rejected from so many colleges was that I didn't have any extracurriculars that made me stand out. Like, I did DECA and FBLA, which like the thousands of students across America, and I'm think internationally too, participate in. So I got some awards, but I feel like you need to be successful like internationally and get awards internationally for schools to care. Also, I feel like I should have applied for business for getting awards for DECA. It doesn't make sense to apply for STEM. It didn't align with like my interests at all. The next thing is that I had no life-changing projects. And when I say this, I mean every time I think about somebody who got into a top school, including the Ivy Leagues or Duke, Stanford, those kinds of schools, not only do they have all of these things, they have amazing grades, unique extracurriculars that pertain very directly to what they're applying to, they've also created something or done something kind of revolutionary. So I've met people who have started projects or who did some community outreach where it affects people like beyond their school. They've helped their whole community and they've really started something. Yeah, I don't really do anything too unique, and you really have to put yourself out there, and I mean this in like a creative way. Like, maybe you don't necessarily have the most creative genes, okay? One of my friends who got into Colombia, she created a Red Cross organization and got thousands of people to not only donate but volunteer their hours to help people and to do outreach. She didn't necessarily have the creative aspect, but because she worked so hard to do the outreach and really help people and show that she wasn't just, clearly the amount of people that she was able to help showed that she could succeed in another environment, and they want to know that when you're amongst other competition, you're going to be able to succeed. High school is definitely competitive enough, but when you're at a top school, it's going to get even more competitive, because these are like the best of people who seem to be able to succeed in academic settings, and if you're able to stand out in the school setting, which is already competitive, you're more likely to succeed in the college setting as well, where there are even more successful people and it is insanely competitive. The other reason I believe I got rejected by so many colleges was I was always trying to do too much, and I think I mentioned once again in my How I Got Into College video, sorry for referencing it so much, but I don't want you guys to think I'm repeating this intentionally, But I took like 10 classes junior year, and then second semester I took 9, which is still a lot. I was doing dance, music, I was in a 0 period. It was insane, and it's unfortunate because I wasn't focusing my attention on just a couple of things. I mean, I did focus my attention on music, but beyond that, I couldn't really focus on 2 or 3 things, and because of that, I spread myself too thin, wasn't able to succeed at anything else in my opinion. I feel like I should have just focused on music and my grades and one other thing, but unfortunately I was part of DECA, FBLA, Earthwise, a bajillion of different volunteer things where I would volunteer like 4 or 5 hours a week for them. I also ended up having a job toward the end of high school, but that was after I applied for college applications. But my point is, I had my plate so full that I wasn't able to succeed at anything. And seriously, just pick 1 or 2 things. You'll be happier, you'll have less stress, and you'll actually succeed at what you do. The next reason I believe I got rejected from so many colleges was I could have done better on both the SAT and the ACT. Keep in mind, I actually didn't submit my SAT score, so maybe that one doesn't apply, but I got a 34 out of 36 on the ACT, which even though it was the 99th percentile, I feel like I still could have done better. I mean, this is one where I don't really regret this so much as like the other things I did, but I mean, I don't know how much getting a 34 would have distinguished, like getting a higher than a 34 would have distinguished me. I mean, unless I got a 36, which is like, holy crap, you're out of the ballpark. But I feel like with a bit more studying, I might have succeeded at getting a 35. I'm not sure about a 36 because there's also the time factor included in the fact that you really don't have time to double check your questions on the ACT. So I don't know. I mean, point is I could have done better because I didn't get a perfect score. So there could have been improvement there. Another reason I believe I got rejected from so many colleges was that I felt that I wrote the essays too much at the last minute. So I tried to write the essays over the summer, didn't have anything, pretty much came into the beginning of my senior year having none of my essays written. Big mistake. I mean, I was able to do them like with a month to spare and had teachers proofread them because these teachers are like so busy. They're, proofreading everyone's essays and they're also trying to write letters of recommendation. Yeah, I kind of harmed my own self because here's the thing. If I had written them over the summer, then when I get into school in August, I could have already had teachers rereading my essays. And then by September, I could have had a second read and then October, a third read. But in my case, I only had 1 read. And I feel like I could have definitely gotten way more feedback if I had just done it in the summer. And here's the thing, if you get stuck, which I know is so easy, just write anything, seriously, writing anything, at least you have something to edit and get rid of or something to fix. Because here's the thing, when I had nothing, there was nothing to fix, like I had nowhere to start. So whatever comes to your mind, write it. If it's trash, okay, delete it, but at least you have something to fix and there's some improvement to make. My next reason is that my letters of recommendation weren't all related to what I was studying. So one of my letters of recommendation was from my chemistry teacher, and essentially he's both the honors chem teacher and the AP Chem teacher, so I thought it was perfect. He knew me pretty well. And then the other one was my English teacher. Here's the thing, I did not like any of my math teachers I had or my bio teachers, and I didn't go to that school freshman year, so I couldn't ask anyone for my freshman year. So I was kind of stuck, and basically I didn't feel like I had another teacher I could ask. If I'd gotten closer to some of my other teachers, definitely could have made this one work, and unfortunately I didn't. But it definitely would have helped if I had just 2 STEM teachers, and I definitely had opportunities to get closer to the STEM teachers. I should have taken advantage of that, didn't because I am dumb and honestly I didn't think things through. You have so much on your plate, you don't even think about these things. These things are like, yeah, I'll worry about it later, and then it's later and you're like, well crap, I didn't. So the next reason I believe I got rejected from so many colleges, I didn't really get to know my counselor. Now, this isn't completely my fault, I should say, because my counselor came new at the beginning of my senior year. My counselor for the last 3 years had moved, and I was like, great, so I don't know you at all. And they have us fill out this form where we answer a bunch of questions, and then they'll write our letter based on that. But holy crap, that means your letter is basically not personalized at all. I mean, they try to, but how much can you do when you fill out a generic form? And here's the thing, I thought maybe I could meet my counselor like once a week, blah blah blah, but she has like 300 students, and when you go to such a big school, it's like, I feel like the counselor has other things on her plate. I don't want to stress her out by just coming there so she could write me a letter recommendation, even though I should say it is her job. I feel like everything was against me. I mean, it definitely didn't help that it takes a while to get to know someone, not just, 2 or 3 months. So that wasn't on my side. I mean, I could have done more. I mean, I did see her at least once every 2 weeks, and I think she knew my name, but like I said, a good letter of recommendation from a counselor or a better one would have definitely given me a better chance in colleges. The next reason I believe I got rejected from so many colleges was that I did not have multiple unique essays. Here's the thing, I didn't visit a lot of these private schools that I applied for because it's expensive. They're not all very close together. I can't just do one trip, and I'm not that lucky. So I had to do a lot of my own research. So I did some limited research online, but there's only so much you can get from it. Also, I got to a point where most of these colleges had similar programs that I wanted. That was like the common theme. That was why I picked the colleges. So there was nothing unique for me to say specifically about the school that other schools didn't have, other than literally the location. So I feel like the essays were really similar. I talked about quite similar experiences. Like, I talked about how I volunteered with children with autism, and then I talked about, so my camera cut me off. I have a new camera, learning how to use it, so sorry about that. But I was talking about how for private school essays, I talked pretty much strictly about why I chose the colleges, and I wrote, there's usually one essay about that, and then there'll be 2 other essays, and I would usually write about my experience going to Japan and working with children with autism. And those 2 essays, the autism one and the going to Japan thing, I mean, that's just a general experience I have. I mean, there's no need to really change that. I mean, I might have tweaked it a little bit between colleges, but there was not much to tweak there. But when it comes to why I chose the colleges, I mean, I chose pretty similar colleges because I wanted them for their programs, and the programs I was looking for were very similar. So I felt like there was nothing unique I could really say about why specifically that school, other than the programs, which a lot of other schools that I chose also had. So I felt like those essays just really didn't set me apart. Very lastly, I feel like I kind of neglected a certain part of the college experience, which was really researching them, and researching them early on. For example, I believe Boston College has a 7-year medical program, but to apply for that 7-year medical program, you need to have 2 subject SATs. One of them has to be physics or chemistry, and I think the other one has to be a language. Keep in mind, at the end of my junior year, I did not take any AP languages at that point, or AP sciences other than bio. So I didn't really have enough knowledge to take the SAT chemistry or physics, so I was screwed there. And I didn't feel like I had enough knowledge for French to take that, and that was the language I'd been taking through high school. Definitely screwed there. And it's kind of hard because you would have had to have known that the college wanted this from back, you know, at the beginning of your junior, and really planned and tried to study. And I mean, other colleges have some specific credentials and stuff, not just like, oh, we only take the SAT, which I've never heard of a college doing that, but I wish I had researched these specific programs, because applying for these specific programs and having the credentials that match those specific programs make you more likely to get into that school. It was my own damn fault. Should have done a teeny weeny bit more research. Okay, way more than teeny weeny bit, but you get my drift. Definitely did not do enough research. This is what happens when you're the firstborn kid. You are the experiment. You don't know what to do. You don't know much better. Those are the reasons I believe I got rejected from college. Keep in mind that I'm really actually happy with my college experience from first quarter. I've mentioned on multiple occasions that I go to University of California at Davis. It's cheap. I like most aspects of it. There are very few things I have to complain. I really enjoyed my fall quarter. Sucked that I had to come home early winter quarter. But other than that, like, I mean, the experience itself was amazing. The education is amazing. I learned so much more than I ever did in high school. And honestly, I have no regrets about my college experience so far. I hope you guys found this informative. I will link referenced videos. I have a video about why I chose Davis in case you're interested in that. I will link that below. And I don't have much else to say. I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for my next video.